Hello, good morning. This is Dr. S.K. Paul, Head of the Department of English, University BRA, BU. Today, I am going to present my lecture on A Passage to India, the novel, a novel which was written by E.M. Foster, and also a film which was directed by David Lean. Novels and films are such different species that it can feel unnatural to combine them. After the adaptation, the only thing they will share will be a story, the setting, and the characters. Novel is a completed art form. One author writes the book, and one reader reads the book one at a time. It is a successful book. Many people, even millions of people, will read that same book, which each other, which each reader will see the story through their own imagination and personal interpretation. The printed words will never change. Very few people will ever read the original screenplay. The screenplay will evolve with input from collaborations between the director and the creative team. From pre to post production, the screenplay is a fluid and ever evolving document. Adapting a novel to a film is rather like renovating a house. You will have to destroy it from the inside before you rebuild it into something beautiful again. The challenge is adopting the novel for a film is how to stay true to the source as you proceed to bend it into the medium of film. The first thing to consider is adapting prose to dramatic writing and the imitations of the screenplay format. E.M. Foster's A Passage to India concerns the relations between the English and the native population of India during the colonial period in which Britain ruled India. The novel takes place primarily in Chandrapur, a city along the Ganges River, notable only for the nearby Maravar caves. The main character of the novel is Dr. Aziz, a Muslim doctor in Chandrapur and a widower. After he is summoned to the civil surgeon's home, only to be promptly ignored, Aziz visits a local Islamic temple where he meets Mrs. Moore, an elderly British woman visiting her son, Mr. Hislop, who is the city magistrate. Although Aziz reprimands her for not taking her shoes off in the temple before realizing she has, in fact, observed this rule, the two soon find that they have much in common and he escorts her back to the club. But at the club, Mrs. Moore meets her companion, Adela Quaysted, who will likely marry her son. Adela complains that they have seen nothing of India, but rather English customs replicated abroad. Although a few persons make racist statements about Indians, Mr. Turton, the collector, proposes having a bridge party to bridge the gulf between East and West. When Mrs. Moore tells her son Ronnie about Aziz, he reprimands her for associating with an Indian. When Mrs. Turton issues the invitations to the bridge party, the invitees suspect that this is a political move for the collector would not behave so cordially without a motive. But accept the invitations despite the suspicion. For Adela and Mrs. Moore, the bridge party is a failure, for only a select few of the English guests behave well toward the Indians. Among these is Mr. Fielding, the schoolmaster at the government college, who suggests that Adela meet Aziz. Mrs. Moore scolds her son for being impolite to the Indians, but Ronnie Hislop feels that he is not in India to be kind, for there are more important things to do. This offends her sense of Christian charity. Aziz accepts Fielding's invitation to tea with Adela, Mrs. Moore, and Professor Narayan Godbole. During tea, they discuss the Maravar caves, while Fielding takes Mrs. Moore to see the college. Ronnie arrives to find Adela alone with Aziz and Godbole, and later chastises Fielding for leaving an English woman alone with two Indians. However, he reminds Ronnie that Adela is capable of making her own decisions. Aziz plans a picnic at the Maravar Caves for Miss Quested and Mrs. Moore. Adela tells Ronnie that she will not marry him, but he nevertheless suggests that they take a car trip to see Chandrapur. The Nawab Bahadur, an important local figure, agrees to take them during the trip. During the trip, the car swerves into a tree and Miss Derek, an Englishwoman passing by at the time, agrees to take them back to town. However, she snubs the Nawab Bahadur and his chauffeur, Adela. Adela speaks to Ronnie and tells him that she was foolish to say that they should not be married. Both Aziz and Godbole fall sick after the party at Mr. Fielding's home. So Fielding visits Aziz and they discuss the state of politics in India. Aziz shows Fielding a picture of his wife, a significant event considering his Islamic background and an important demonstration of their friendship. Aziz plans the expedition to the Maravar Caves, considering every minute detail because he does not wish to offend the English ladies. During the day when they are to embark, Muhammad Latif, a friend of Aziz, bribes Adela's servant Anthony not to go on the expedition, for he serves as a spy for Ronnie Hislop. Although Aziz, Adela, and Mrs. Moore arrive to the train at railway station on time. After Godbole missed the train because of Godbole's morning prayers, Adela and Aziz discuss her marriage and she fears she will become a narrow-minded Anglo-Indian such as the other wives of British officials. When they reach the caves, a distinct echo in one of them frightens Mrs. Moore, who decides she must leave immediately. The echo terrifies her, for it gives her the sense that the universe is chaotic and has no order. Aziz and Adela continue to explore the caves, and Adela realizes that she does not love Ronnie. However, she does not think that this is reason enough to break off her engagement. Adela leaves Aziz, who goes into a cave to smoke, but when he finds their guide alone and asleep. Aziz searches for Adela but only finds her broken field glasses. Finally, he finds Fielding, who arrived at the cave of Miss Derrick's care, but she does not know where Adela is. When the group returns to Chandrapur, Aziz is arrested for assaulting Adela. Fielding speaks to the collector about the charge and claims that Adela is mad and Aziz must be innocent. The collector feels that this is inevitable, for disaster always occurs when the English and Indians interact socially. Fielding requests that he sees Adela, but McBride, the police superintendent, denies the request. Fielding acts as Aziz's advocate, explaining such things as why Aziz would have the field glasses. Aziz hires as his lawyer Amrit Rao, a Hindu who is notoriously anti-British. Godbole leaves Chandrapur to start a high school in central India. My lecture continues in the second part.